Whoa, this is the Illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. So, I'm going for my morning walk, get the juices flowing, get fired up in the dream. You know, I don't posted that video about how to get active and get an active lifestyle. This is it, man, is to try to get up in the morning and go for a walk. Some mornings it can't happen, other mornings it can. I got up super early this morning, and I was hanging out with Owl, listening to music, because Owl loves to listen to music. So we were hanging out, listening to music, letting his mom sleep, and a song came on by The Strokes, right? Because I got a pretty diverse playlist. And Heart in a Cage came in, right? And I was listening to Heart in a Cage, and I was thinking about, you know, what a trippy concept, like heart in a cage, like your heart being trapped in the center of your chest. And if we are love, you know, the confines of the human body, the spacesuit, if you will, that keep us, you know, confined. It's a cage, dude, but we're a heart, we're infinite light. Anyway, so I was thinking about The Strokes all of a sudden, and then I remembered I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina for a while at the turn of the century, 2002, something like that. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina on Jackson Avenue. Any of you Charlotte, North Carolina people out there? I was living on Jackson Avenue. I was working at this catering company called Something Classic. And it was madness, dude. I gotta say, it was the gnarliest 6 months ever. That's another story. Let's stick to The Strokes. So Jackson Avenue is really close to like downtown. I lived like basically right over the freeway from downtown. Could see downtown out of my room. Super bitchin'. And saw that the Strokes were playing just down the street. Fully sold out show. But I'm a full believer that there's no such thing as a sold out show. All you got to do is show up and you'll get a ticket. You'll get a ticket. So I show up down there right before the show. Like it's deserted and everybody's inside the show. I go to the box office, check, no tickets there. I'm kind of hanging out, you know, just waiting for someone. I get rousted by security. I remember there, because I'm loaded, of course, at the time. And I get rousted by security, and there's no tickets. And I go, no, I'm waiting for a friend. You know, that's what you got to be quick. I'm waiting for a friend. And they're like, okay. And this like one person comes walking up. I remember it very weird because there's nobody around and this one person comes walking up. And I was like, hey, you got an extra ticket? And they're like, yeah, I got an extra ticket. So I bought this extra ticket from this person. And I get into the show. And I'm in the show, and that first band, I forget who they are. They were great, man. I remember they were really good. Darn, I forgot. I have them on. What is their... Anyway, I want to get distracted with that. So they play, it's a great deal, and now it's, you know, the Strokes are coming up. So the filler music's going on, and it's getting packed, you know, it's almost time for the show, you know, it's almost time. And I'm way out in the crowd. It's like general admission. It's like at a basketball arena or something. And all of a sudden I spot these two giant black security guards in their yellow jackets come rolling through the center. And I'm one of those. I like to be center of the sound. So I don't care where I am as long as I'm in the center. And I actually prefer to be in the back because I like to boogie. But I see these two giant guys making a move and they start cutting through the crowd, and I go get right behind them. Like if they're walking two shoulder to shoulder, I get dead center behind them. And I basically draft off these two guys. I draft off these two guys and they start making their way through the crowd right here. Wait, this is one of my favorite spots to the walk. Look at, I'm in Sedona. Hi, I'm in Sedona, Arizona right now. Anyway, so I draft off these two giant guys. They're cutting their way through the crowd, right? And they get, I don't know, 20, 30 layers of people away from the front and center of the stage. And they kind of start hitting some resistance. And now I'm in the back of them and I go, just keep going, you got it, just keep going, man, keep going, you got it. And they you know, they realize they're the guys, so they start pushing their way through the crowd. And they're mowing their way through the crowd, and I'm drafting off these two dudes. I'm little, I'm small, I'm right there behind them, man. Aerodynamic, right? They get all the way to about 2 layers of people from the stage, but dead center of the stage. And they kind of like stop. And they have, it's like this weird moment where they are like, well, what are we doing up here? Like, what are we doing up here? And they kind of look at each other and they chat for a minute and they split and they leave, and this kid's right there. And he's like, how did you do that, man? How'd you do that? And like perfectly choreographed on cue, Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way came on. And the minute he said, how did you do that? And the music came on, I go, I did it my way. I sang it, you know, I love that Frank Sinatra song. To this kid. And then the show started, like the next song, and I hung out and rocked out right dead center, 3rd row back. And then I decided it was time to move to the back of the place and enjoy the show. Because I've never understood being at a concert wedged up in the front. Like, that's not enjoyable to me. I don't get it, really. I like to move around. I just like the music to be centered. So, why do I tell this story? It's this thing about seizing opportunity. And man, this was before I was like conscious. I was loaded at the time. Like, I was a drug addict and drunk. But I was still fully aware of, subconsciously, the ability to be the one in the middle of a crowd of people that isn't part of the crowd, if you know what I mean. Look, I think that's the high frequency tribe way, is like, don't be part of the crowd. Be yourself, be an individual. And when you see opportunity, you have to take it, man. It's like that Eminem song, you know? It only comes once. And if you hesitate, you're gonna miss it. And you can't be afraid to take it. And you can't even try to figure it out sometimes. Like when I saw those two dudes, there was no like, I distinctly remember, there was no like conscious, I'm gonna make it to the front and this and that. I was just like, intuitively understood the situation and just went with it. And ended up where I did. And then, see, the profound thing about it is it's all about this story. I don't even know if it was so much about getting to the center of the stroke show and the whole thing, but really, when that Frank Sinatra music hit, I did it my way. It was like a moment in time and space I'll always remember. Like perfectly choreographed. And that's what it was all about. That's what seizing the moment was all about. Was this choreographing of life and realizing it at the same time. So, what we get to do as human beings in the high frequency tribe is notice patterns. That's what frequencies are. They're patterns, they're vibrations. And so we also get to not be part of the crowd. I think that's one of the most important things we can be as human beings, is not part of the crowd. Because we are part of the crowd by our very nature as human beings. There's no escaping the crowd. You can go live in your cave on top of the mountain, but you're still on a planet full of 7 billion people, whether you like it or not. I tried to be a hermit for a long time. There's just no way around it. But that doesn't mean that you have to be part of the crowd. You're in the crowd, but you don't have to be part of the crowd. One of humanity's lessons, if you read history, is don't get swept by the crowd. When you see some sort of massive thing happening with the crowd, go the opposite way. I've lived by this rule instinctively my whole life. Whenever I see a bunch of people going one direction, I'm going the other way, because wherever the mass is going, dangerous, not happening, because most people are sheeple. And that's not knocking them, it's just observing them. So anyway, that's the illusion. That's what I'm thinking about this morning on my walk, and I wanted to share it with you. All right? All right.